Hello, this is Paul with you again. Another series on our walk through this book on the biblical role of men and women. And this is episode number 4, and today is February 8th, 2021. I'm going to hit my timer here. I know this 10 minutes goes very quickly. So we're talking about the distinction of roles between men and women. We've established that men and women have equal value in the sight of God. But that men and women have different roles, and we're talking about men having a leadership role and an accountability role. And I need to make it clear that that's not meaning a less than role for women. We have it wrong. To say that would mean that Jesus is less than the Father. Well, Jesus is 100% God. He was also a man, but he's 100% God. So he is equal value in the Trinity, and he is not less than, but he yields unto the Father in his role, in the same way with the woman. So let us continue. We're going through 10 points of the different roles portrayed before the fall of man. We did several last time, and point number 5 is that men have primary accountability. So God spoke to Adam first after the fall in Genesis 3:9, but the Lord God called the man, and said to him, "Where are you?" Even though Eve sinned first, God first summoned Adam to give account for what had happened. So it is the man who had the accountability. So once again, before a man gets carried away and says, "Yeah, I'm the boss," oh, slow down. It doesn't mean that your wife's the slave. It means that the primary responsibility of leadership is yours, and you are accountable for that leadership. And you and I need to make sure that we're on board with what this means. And we're going to talk about how the Trinity, this relationship between God and the Father and Jesus, mirror the marriage. So anyway, the purpose, Eve was created as helper for Adam, not Adam as helper to Eve. Genesis 2:18, the Lord God said, "It is not good for the man to be alone. I will make him a helper suitable for him." We also see Paul addressing the church in Corinth and all of us in 11:09, saying, "For man did not come from woman, but woman from man. Neither was man created for woman, but woman for man." So Eve's role was one of helper, even as they are equal in the sight of God. They differed. She was created to complement Adam. So again, we have to keep this in context with this relationship between the Father and Jesus, as we see mirrored in the husband and the wife. And by the way, I have all these boxes behind me there. Someone had asked to store some things in my office for a little while, so it's a little cluttery now. So anyway, so Eve was created to be his helper for Adam, and we can go on and elaborate on that, and I believe, again, that is very misunderstood by many, but for the sake of time, I'm going to keep going. I could come back to that if need be. The conflict, the curse, brought a distortion of previous roles, not new roles. So what we see in many marriages today is a distortion of what it's supposed to be. In Genesis 3:16, the woman said, "I will make your pains," to the woman he said, this is God speaking, "I will make your pains in childbearing very severe. With painful labor you will give birth to children. Your desire will be for your husband, and he will rule over you." The very same word is used as God addressed Cain in terms of desire. In Genesis 4:7, "If you do what is right, will you not be accepted? But if you do not do what is right, sin is crouching at your door. It desires to have you." The same Hebrew word, desires. So I'm trying to shake this down. That at the end of the day, this means that Eve is going to resist Adam's leadership, and we see this in modern day marriages where the woman resists the leadership of the man. And it will bring about counterproductive fruit in the relationship and the family. So now I'm going to keep moving along. It's hard not to spend a lot of time in all these categories. So the restoration, this is his point number 8. In the New Testament, we see a reversal in 1 Corinthians 3:18 and 19. Wives, submit yourselves to your husbands, as is fitting to the Lord. Husbands, love your wives, and do not be harsh with them. This command is an undoing of the impulse to oppose and the harsh rule that God imposed at the curse. In the New Testament, God reestablishes the beauty of the relationship. So at the fall, there was a curse on the relationship that brought about the role with women bearing children and the role of the man providing, having difficulties on the fields, and it also brought about difficulties in the relationship. But in the New Testament, there's a call for restoration, and that's what is in 1 Corinthians 3:18. Wives, submit yourself to your husbands, as is fitting to the Lord, which was established before the fall. Husband, love your wives, and do not be harsh with them, as was established before the fall. So this command is an undoing of that impulse to oppose what God has designed for the marriage. So, point number 9, the marriage is a mystery. Marriage from the beginning of creation was a picture of the relationship between Christ and the church. So, not only is it a picture of the relationship between the Father and Jesus, it's also a relationship between mirrors the relationship between Christ and the church. And that's what marriage is supposed to look like. So when the Apostle Paul discusses marriage and wishes to speak of the relationship between a husband and wife, he does not look back to any sections of the Old Testament telling about the situation after sin came into the world. Rather, he looks all the way back to Genesis 2 prior to the fall and uses that creation order to speak of marriage, which is very significant. We see in Ephesians 5:31, for this reason, a man will leave his father and a mother shall be joined to his. For this reason, a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. And this is a quote out of Genesis 2:24. This is a profound mystery and refers to that relationship between Christ and the church. And this is an excerpt from the book. Now, a mystery in Paul's writing is something that was understood only very faintly, if at all, in the Old Testament, but that is now made clear in the New Testament. Here, Paul makes clear the meaning of the mystery of marriage as God created it in the garden. Paul is saying that the mystery of Adam and Eve, the meaning that was not previously understood, was that marriage refers to Christ and the church. In other words, although Adam and Eve did not know it, their relationship represented the relationship between Christ and the church, and that should be the case today. So they were created to represent that relationship, and that is what all marriages are supposed to do. In that relationship, Adam represents Christ. Eve represents the church, because Paul says, for the husband is the head of the wife, even as Christ is head of the church. Now, the relationship between Christ and the church is not culturally variable. It is for all generations and is not reversible. Some egalitarians will argue that when Paul said, there's my timer. When Paul said that, you're to submit to one another, egalitarians will then say, therefore one does not submit to the other. They're both equal in their roles. But then he goes on to talk about husband and wives and parents and children and workers and slaves. So if you took that rationale, you would say, then husband and wife are to be equal in their roles and responsibility, and one doesn't yield at one another. You'd have to say the same for parents and children, that children just have as much right and decisions as the parents, and there's no distinction. Or in the workplace, that an employee has the same rights of authority that the employer has, and so that that it doesn't match at all what is being said in that verse. What is being said in the verse is that there is to be unity in the church. Unity between husband and wives, unity between father and children, and on the workplace, but that doesn't mean that there aren't distinct roles within all those relationships. So I will continue next time with some of the conclusions on this. Again, the marriage is a parallel of the Trinity. So next time I will continue with the conclusions in talking about the dangers of the distortion of what marriage is supposed to be. And then at some point I would like to get then into, I'm getting down to my notes, that there's egalitarian objection. So there's evangelical feminism, or another word of saying egalitarians. They would believe that the man, the woman are equal in their roles, and they both co-lead, and that there isn't the man being the head and the man of the leader. That is what is meant by evangelical feminism or egalitarian. So the book, the author in this book gets into 3 different objections of the egalitarians, and we will take a look at those 3 objections when I get to that. So I know this can be a little bit disjointed with me doing these shorter segments. Maybe I should do longer ones to make it more clear, but I'm trying to make this more manageable with everybody's busy schedule. So I think if you listen carefully and stay tight, you'll get the gist of this. So until next time, take care.